Michael Chammas, massive day at the Newcastle Knights. You got some breaking news for us.
Yeah, big night for the club. It's Kalyn Ponga's future up in the air, and Adam O'Brien's future looks like that will come to an end at the end of the season. Reported tonight in the Sydney Morning Herald that Kalyn Ponga has engaged the services of a New Zealand Rugby Union agent to explore his options for the end of this year, as early as the end of this year. Now, he still has 2 years to run on his contract, Breeny, but
You don't employ the services of an agent to sniff around in New Zealand rugby if you're not leaving.
yeah, well, if you're not attempting to have a look around
Exactly.
what's out there. And there's been murmurs around KP for a while. The fact that he's engaged in this New Zealand agent, not just New Zealand rugby, potentially European rugby, what options they have. And as I said, 2 years to run on his Knights deal worth $1.4 million. Now, that's not to say he may want to stay in the NRL. I'm not too sure. He may decide not to ask for a formal release, but at the moment they're engaging an agent to look at what their options are. And you can imagine if they find something suitable, they'll be going to the Knights at the end of this season and potentially asking for a release.
It's always been there, a desire from him, like a fascination with rugby. We know about his Kiwi roots through his father and coming across to Perth as a youngster, then across to Queensland, all of that. If he's going to go to rugby, he's 27. It's got to be now because of the 27 World Cup.
Well, if he wants to play in the World Cup, it's got to be.
It's got to be now.
And that's the from what I'm hearing, a feeling from Kalyn that not to waste the best years of his career at a club that's going to have to rebuild now. And to be fair to Newcastle, they've invested heavily in him. So if this was to
They
be
invested everything in him.
$1.4 million a season, the highest contract in the history of the game for an individual, and for him to potentially leave, well, they'd have every right to be disappointed. But also, it gives them a chance to reset, Breeny. They got Dylan Brown coming in at $13 million over 10 years. The roster's out of whack. Maybe Fletcher Sharp goes to full. Maybe the Knights just say, and my mail is that there are people at the Knights, if that Kalyn came knocking and said that I want to release, they'd be willing to
They'll
sit
be
down
philosophical about it.
Yeah.
They'll go, you know what? Let's just use this as an opportunity.
Potentially.
It's massive.
Yeah.
It's absolutely massive. The other part of this today, look, it's kind of like moving day in rugby league, isn't it? You get to the end of State of Origin, you're in the run to the finals, you've got teams that aren't performing so well. The Dogs are barking about Des Hasler at the Titans. He won't be there next year. They're talking about Todd Payton at the Cowboys. Adam O'Brien's been forefront about discussions with coaches leaving, and your mail is at the end of this year, and you've written this in the Herald today, is that it's over.
Yeah, the Knights are moving to move on from Adam O'Brien at the end of the year. They're making plans both internally looking around and also externally. My mail is there are big raps on Blake Green. He's the assistant coach there at the moment. Potentially Blake Green to take over from Adam O'Brien at the end of the season. The other one that I'm hearing is Josh Hannay. Yep. He's the Cronulla assistant coach, the Queensland assistant coach. Big raps on him, missed out on the Parramatta job just to Jason Riles.
They're talking about Hannay for all three. They're talking about him for the Cowboys, for the Titans,
Yeah.
and for the Knights as well.
Well, they consider him the next cab off. He's the next big fish in terms of rookie coaches given a chance to do their thing. So Adam O'Brien, I said a few months ago, they won't terminate him mid-season. He's got a massive payout, two-year payout there. And what they'll do is they'll get through the end of the season, they'll sit down and look at their options, and my mail is that Adam O'Brien will be given the tap on the shoulder.
It's a tough one for him, and like his deal ends at the end of 27.
Yeah, because he had that ridiculous top 12 clause in there.
That's right.
Last year they triggered the top 12 clause. He finished just inside that top 12, which guaranteed him till the end of 2027.
And that'd be 2 years' pay.
Ridiculous clause.
2 years' pay. And we know that the situation at the Titans is different because Des doesn't have any exit payments.
If he misses the 8. Which is going to happen.
Yeah.
So.
But I suppose these are massive talking points in rugby league and might sort of set some dominoes off. But it's hard to say this when you're talking about a coach maybe losing his job, but the Kalyn Ponga news is enormous.
Well, he potentially has the ramifications could be huge because what happens if the NRL, what do they value him at? Does he go to another NRL club? Are the Knights happy to say, yes, you can leave and go to an NRL club? Maybe they put provisions on a release and say, if you leave, you have to go to rugby union. We understand that's been your desire for some time. So it's going to play out. The way it plays out is going to be interesting. And I don't know if a lot of clubs, this is the hard part, how many clubs will have $1.4 million or $1 million plus for next year ready to go?
Well, not for next year they will. 27 Perth, 28 PNG.
Does he go to rugby for 12 months and then sign a lucrative deal elsewhere?
Go get all the tax-free money in PNG.
Would you let him go if you were Newcastle?
I think I would.
Yeah.
I think I would. I think my problem if I'm Newcastle is that I've signed Dylan Brown to a massive deal Like, it has to work for them.
And he's not a 7, Breeny.
No,
so
he's
they need
not.
to find a 7. They won't. There's not many on the market. So if you got Fletcher Sharp and Dylan Brown in the halves, I don't think it's going to work. So you got to move Fletcher to fullback. And if Kalyn then frees up $1.4 million, well, Peter O'Sullivan's got some money to spend in the marketplace.
Rightio. Michael Chammas. It's all on the Herald's website.
Appreciate it.
Good story today, mate. Your new boss is very happy.